she knew my now husband before I did. So we were talking about like their previous
The first thing that Alyssa asked me was if I ever slept with her boyfriend.
Welcome to The Significance of Others, the podcast about the friendships that shape us. Today's story is about Alyssa and Regan, two women whose friendship began with an unexpected question at a holiday party and grew into a bond that has carried them through careers, moves, and big life changes.
My ex-boyfriend, her husband, worked for the same organization. And my boyfriend at the time and I were moving to Pennsylvania where Alyssa and her husband lived. I didn't know anyone except for, Alyssa's husband, Josh. And obviously I was moving with my boyfriend at the time. So I remember we did meet for lunch and then we moved up here and, they're having their holiday party. So I'm like, where do I get my nails done? Like where do I go shopping for a dress? So I was messaging Alyssa on Facebook because we didn't even exchange phone numbers at the time. And then, she, of course, steered me in the right direction for fashion and, getting myself ready for this party. And then I think that once we got to the party, it was kind of just a natural kind of friendship. And then she moved into a different organization, which I actually got a job working for. So we're acquaintances from the fact that, our boyfriends work together. We're acquaintances in the fact that we now work together. And so there were so many layers of, coworkers and having these mutual connections. And I don't even remember a time where it was getting to know each other. It almost really felt instant for me, at least. It felt very instant. And, we would go on walks at work together. We'd eat lunch, together at work. So it was almost like this immediate connection.
Some friendships start with surface level chatter. Alyssa and Regan skipped that part altogether. From the beginning, they spoke in the language of big dreams and deep truths.
When we were working together, we were pretty early in our careers. So we would talk about we'd get 15-minute breaks, 15-minute breaks in the day. So we would walk and talk. And at lunch, we would either eat or we would walk and talk. And so we spent a lot of our time, what are our dreams? Where do we want to be? We were both in administrative roles at the time and just talking about where we want to go. So I don't think either of us do small talk very well. If we're going to have a conversation, it is not going to be surface level, clearly. So it just always, we had that in common. We had this mutual connection in common. So it was almost like we felt this safety to just dive right into the real stuff, and our values and visions and all of that aligned too. So it was really easy to then build on that. It took me a very long time to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And Regan made me a spreadsheet of roles to rate and then put in order. It was almost like a career and personality test, but she made it for me and was fill out this.
And before ChatGPT, no.
Yes, yes, well before. And we would talk about it. And I literally still have it.
At its heart, this is a story about two women who gave each other the courage to stand out and the clarity to grow, as well as the safety to be fully themselves.
We were going to a conference and there was a gala that was almost black tie themed. And just the beginning of our friendship, we were talking about what to wear and we were sending photos of dresses back and forth. And I said something along the lines of I'm just going to use the color pink. I don't remember what the actual color was, but there was this really colorful dress that I loved. And I was if I was going to pick a dress, I would pick this one, but I feel like I can't because I don't want to stand out and give anybody a reason to talk about me, because there had been so much in my past where in the workplace, people's opinions of me had affected the trajectory of my career. So I was afraid of that. And she said, you can't get promoted if people don't know who you are. And I was oh, Okay. And like, so now my entire business is around helping people tell their story and share who they are. So it was almost like she gave me this permission to show up as the person that I am and wanted to share with people outside of my circle and like do it without shame or without fear of judgment.
It's great, and I think the skills, which are really art and science of being able to stay with someone through evolution, like needs to be written. Like it needs to be written about more because it's really hard. But the fact that you guys have been able to continue to grow in your different ways and support each other with, and you should let me know if this is true, but like doesn't feel like there's jealousy or animosity or triggering. And if something ever came up and you were like, I'm kind of jealous that you're going on that trip or whatever, you would talk about it. But on that note, have there been things that you guys had to really work through, or has it just always been so easy because of the soul connection?
You go, good, because I don't, or if you want to share, I don't feel like I mean, there's been situations I think where one of us was going through a tough time and we've maybe had to be really candid with each other about what we were seeing, or where we were nervous for that other person of like where they were going. And so having that kind of conversation is always difficult, whether you're good friends with that person or not. But there's really never been a time for me where I had to really think about our friendship or like work back on any kind of jealousy or anything like that.
Yeah, there's the three that came to mind for me. I'll share one here and then I'll share the other two privately. I don't know that they were never like friendship threatening. It was almost like you use the term mirror. And the first one I think of is when I talked about safety earlier, like Reagan was the person where I could share, like, the trend, like we listen and we don't judge. Like she created that for me. So like I can share anything. And as a rambler, as someone with ADHD, I tend to like, she was my person and she had to listen to a lot. And I remember her telling me one day, like, this was such a long time ago, I'm paraphrasing, but it was like respectfully, like, I can't carry all of this. Um, and at first I was like, well, what do you mean? And it like hurt my feelings, but it wasn't a fight. It was a conversation. You know what I'm talking about?
Maybe.
It was a text exchange. I remember I was in the car driving. I was with my mom. We were driving somewhere, and I was complaining about something, and you were like respectfully, um, I can't. I'm going through X, Y, and Z. I can't like support you in the way that I'm here to support you, but I can't like listen to you bitch every day. Ultimately, you said it nicer than that. And it was for me, it was something that sticks out clearly because it was the first time anybody didn't just like not be my friend anymore. Like she didn't get sick of me and like ditch me. She was like, listen, this is a thing that is emotionally happening and this is how I am handling it. And so it taught me almost like interpersonal communication skills. Like if I needed to talk about something, she would never be like, no. She has never made me feel like I can't talk to her about something. But it was a moment of reflection where like I don't need to text her every time I'm fighting with my husband or every time a coworker pisses me off or every time like I tripped and stubbed my toe. Like it was a moment of growth that was caused by just her total honesty that at the time stung a little bit, but it didn't take very long for me to see that it was more out of love.
Through encouragement, spreadsheets, and sometimes tough truths, Alyssa and Regan's friendship became more than companionship. It became a mirror that reflected their growth and their courage.
I definitely had people that I would call my best friend in my childhood, but and maybe occasionally throughout college I might have called somebody my best friend, but I really at the time when I moved to Pennsylvania, I really didn't have best friends, and certainly not ever in my life have I had a friend like Alyssa who was not only somebody that I could talk to and do friend like things with, but that bettered me as a person and improved my life for the better. And that I'm completely open and honest with about everything. So, you're my first and OG friend.
I think everybody knows that Reagan's like my girl. Like, she's more than like, I don't think friendship is a good enough word. I almost feel like most people grow up in their teen years in college. That's when you have your things. Her and I feel like we grew up together, even though we met in our 20s, because of the amount of change and hardship and relationships that happened. And one thing about me is I don't really trust people. Like, my default is I don't trust you. Like, I always like, and I'm working on this in therapy, I always feel like people have a motive. Every single person that I would classify as a best friend is someone that I met, and my vibe immediately was like, you can trust this person. And I had no proof of it. It's always been a vibe thing. And so with Reagan, it was an instant vibe thing. Like, I didn't have to question it. I've never had to question it. And because of the fact that I could instantly trust her and we grew up together, it's just been really powerful, regardless of any other friendship. Like, I wouldn't even compare it.
Alyssa has my best intentions in mind, and I guess we developed that through time and tribulations and just kind of working together and growing together. But if I'm growing in a way that's good or bad for me, I know that I can not use you as a reflection, but know that I can look at her and see a reflection of if I'm on the right path or not, because she'll either reflect my growth in a positive or a negative way. Mm-hmm. So funneling our growth together, and we're on different life paths. Like, Alyssa, has a husband and 2 children, and I don't. And, we live in different states, and there are differences in how we're growing. But I think just kind of being open to using each other as a reflection, bouncing things off of each other helps that process, because we're along each other's growth journey, even if we're not growing in the same way.
I remember being on a walk at our company and like visualizing, like, one day Reagan is going to be a leadership role in this company and Alyssa's going to go. It was something like write a book or like do something similarly to like what I'm doing now. And I found this the other day and I was like, oh my gosh, like, we planted these seeds and we supported each other through these things. Like, she has a leadership role. She has grown. She is a batty career woman. And then I went and started my own business. So like, we planted these seeds for each other, and it was never, we used to use the word like collaboration. Like, we would go to a coffee shop on a Saturday and both bring our computers and like work on our stuff and just like sit and work on whatever we were working on because we enjoyed talking about it, and supporting each other and sharing ideas. And I mean, we've probably wrote like 3 business plans collectively together. Like, one time we had this whole plan for a nonprofit that we were going to start, and then, like, we were going to buy a winery. Like, we talked about all of these things, but I think it's like, okay, big picture, we know how to support each other. With Regan and I working together, we experienced a lot both in and out of work. Each of us had a number of things that would bother us at any given time. And I feel as if we were always a safe place for us to like vent about what was happening at work, just like any coworker would, right? But we were each other's safe place.
But it wasn't until I became friends with Alyssa that it was really more of, I was able to open up myself and talk more to other people. Like, it kind of helped fulfill my other relationships that I had, and kind of give me the strength or the confidence to open up and kind of share with other people. So now I have a lot more friends now than I did before I met Alyssa, and I have better relationships with people because I've been able to kind of exercise my friendship skills with Alyssa, and she's supported me through the whole thing. She's made me a better friend or made me a better daughter, sister, all of that, because she's kind of opened. She was a platform for me to be a friend and really refine my interpersonal communication skills, and it helps me be better in all of my other relationships. I was actually thinking this morning. I didn't say it out loud, but you're so strong, and like I don't think that you believe that you're a strong person, but you illuminate strength in all the decisions that you make. Like you're very brave. I think all of those things about you, and I don't think that you think that about yourself enough.
I would use the word resilient in that, sort of like we were talking about this morning, you have had to make decisions that maybe not everybody else would like. And you've shared with me when decisions are hard versus when they feel natural, but I have always been very proud of, once you make a decision, how you stand with it and how you are passionate about it and how you show up for whether it's the decision or the person that you've decided to stand by. And it feels like you are starting to show up for yourself that way, and like the same way you've showed up for others.
You guys, you're great. I mean, this is a perfect space to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for having this conversation with a relative stranger and giving us listeners a window into something very beautiful. The world is chaotic. There's so much we can't control. And so what we have is each other. And I think through stories, there's an opportunity for us to feel more in unity, more at peace than anything else. And so that's the gift you're giving the people who listen to this story. And for those who are struggling to figure out what good friendship feels like, because sometimes we don't know what it feels like to be loved because we haven't felt that. You guys are you're offering insight. So thank you, Regan. Thank you, Alyssa, for the gift of your time.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for having us.
Yes.
Alyssa and Regan's story reminds us that friendship is not only about companionship, it's actually about a kind of transformation. When we choose each other with honesty and care and love, we give one another the courage to become who we are and who we are truly meant to be. Thank you for listening to The Significance of Others. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and if you prefer to watch, follow along on YouTube at youtube.com/@Nickastar.